Welcome, Di.
Thank you.
Welcome to Relational Change. I'm going to just say a little about you before getting a bit more a sense of you. So, Di, you're a trainer, a psychotherapist, a supervisor. You've worked in the field of psychotherapy and counseling for many, many years. But what people who even know you might not know, you've also been a coach and an OD consultant. So you've got that organizational strain. And as a newcomer to relational change, as our new associate, we thought it would be great to give people a sense, a bit more of a sense of you through this video. You've had a full practice as a Gestalt practitioners. And for those people who don't know Gestalt, just a very briefly, it's a body of knowledge and practice that can be applied both to psychotherapy and organizational context. So maybe we can start there. Maybe you can tell me a bit about your journey as a Gestalt practitioner or a therapist, wherever you wish to start.
Sure, of course, I'd love to. So it's hard to know how far to go back. But actually, it was when I was actually in my 20s, which in my case is a long time ago. I was actually working as an organizational consultant in central government. And there was a kind of reorganization, and I had an opportunity to do some kind of counseling work, I think partly based on the fact that my original degree was in psychology. So there was an opportunity for a training in counseling, which I took. That was kind of humanistic focus.
Yes.
And really from then until about 12, 13 years ago, I ran a sort of organizational practice alongside further training in counseling and then subsequently psychotherapy. So those were my two tracks, and for a long time I did both. And they seem to fit quite nicely together. One influenced the other in, I think, a quite useful way. In terms of, so my original training was humanistic. Then I did an integrative training, and anybody paying attention to this who knows me will not be surprised to hear me say the bit of integrative I struggled with was the idea that somebody else would tell me what I was feeling, and would tell me I was wrong about what I was feeling.
No, no go. That won't happen.
Yeah, didn't do it for me. Whereas when I encountered Gestalt, which is now over 30 years ago, it's one of those things. I was thinking about it before we met this morning. And I was thinking, on the one hand, it makes perfect cognitive sense. But I actually can remember sort of almost a bodily relaxation of, I kind of get myself through this lens. It was almost like I sort of understand the human condition through the lens of Gestalt. The importance we play on the field, on context. That context matters so much, the context of how we come into the world and the context of how we continue to live.
This is fascinating, isn't it? What you're drawing attention to is that difference, what you're calling the integrative approach, that was still probably very informed by a psychoanalytic lens, where you were interpreted to some level, versus what Gestalt gives, which, as you're saying, is context and also a phenomenological perspective. It's like, I'm here as a practitioner in order to understand your experience from your point of view. Very powerful, isn't it?
I think it's incredibly powerful, and that is the bit I think that I still feel so engaged and passionate about. That sense of it is understanding ourselves and really how we are in the world with others, and getting that real sense of the understanding ourselves through the lens of it's like, oh, this is how I came to be who I am, not in a pathologizing way, but in a real, that's why, now I understand. And really being able to, and I think the magic of it really, and it does sometimes feel a bit magical to me, is in those moments in the here and now of noticing ourselves in relationship, and we understand ourselves.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Such an important perspective for everyone, anyone really in the world today. Yeah. Wonderful. God, that's feels like I could go anywhere, but just as a curiosity, what stands out for you most as you look back? Because as you said, you could start very, very far. You've done a lot of things. You've led a whole Gestalt department, an educational department in terms of psychotherapy training. But what stands out for you most as you look back?
Um, one of my first my psychotherapy training in Gestalt, uh,
Mm,
I trained with Malcolm Parlett,
mm,
and some of the things that stand out are it was a bit edgy. Um, that's a word I can probably roll with. Um,
great word.
I could say at times it was a bit bonkers, and I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
allowed to say that, so we'll decide about that later on, Mac. But there was an element of there's something really emergent about some of the things that we did. And I might be getting a bit ahead here, but I think this is one of the things that I'm particularly interested in right now at this
Mm,
later point in my career. It's about
mm,
can we have we lost question mark and can we re-find if needed that slightly more risky, slightly more edgy, um, I think a bit more impactful
mm,
element and of Gestalt.
mm,
So I was thinking about our founders and the
mm.
posers because I like to credit both of them. I think Laura
Yeah.
Pels had plenty to offer as well as Fritz. But I think the two of them, I wouldn't do it like them now,
Yes.
but I do still think that sometimes we've gone a long way away from some
Mm,
of that significant impact.
mm,
Uh,
mm,
and
mm,
I think there is a whole conversation maybe to be had,
mm,
thinking to be had about can we from this place, can we
mm,
go back to our roots a bit? Just think
mm,
about can we benefit
mm.
from something a bit
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
edgy and a bit more risky and a bit more impactful. I think there's a sort of zeitgeist of safety at the minute, and of course, safety is absolutely important,
Mm.
and it's not the only thing that matters.
Mm, I really love hearing you say that because, of course, everyone can agree that safety is important. But what I'm hearing you make the point is, has the pendulum swung too far towards prioritizing safety? And as it does that, what gets lost is what is at the heart of Gestalt, which, as the book says, it's the excitement and growth really
Yes,
that
yes,
happens in contact. Yeah.
yes. The excitement, the growth, allowing ourselves to have some impact and maybe be on a little bit of a rocky edge.
Yes, yes. So a bit of uncertainty isn't a bad thing these days.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Uncertainty is a good thing. We have to learn to live with uncertainty. And
yes.
it's important not to kind of buy into some idea of actually making things so predictable and so safe that somehow we lose some of that energy and that
Mm,
vitality, which I think is what makes Gestalt so special and so
mm.
important.
Yes, wonderful.
That would be one key standout, though, just looking back at that early training and looking at
Yes,
some of the things that we did and how I still remember
yes,
a lot of the detail of
yes,
what happened.
yes. Wonderful,
And I've
wonderful.
been working for the last sort of 12, 13 years in an academic institution where
Mm,
academic rigor was
mm,
very important. I think that's
mm,
right.
mm,
I feel proud of is the
mm, mm,
academic
mm.
and the rigor of the whole program, not just the academics of the program,
Yes,
the rigor of
yes,
the teaching and
yes,
the quality of what we
yes,
did.
yes,
Um,
yes. Lovely. I love that you pull those two out and put them side by side, and it doesn't need to be one or the other. You could be academically and otherwise rigorous, as well as, impactful and contactful and edgy. Yeah, nice, nice. I love that. I love that. And I can feel your energy as we talk, actually. And I'm looking forward to more of that energy coming forward in, all the, what you're going to be offering through relational change as well. I'm just wondering, anything else that you feel that it would be lovely if people knew about you, or what about what you're passionate about, or anything else you would like to say.
Gosh, that's a tough question.
We can drop it.
No, it's good. It's good. No, it's good. I think I'm passionate about it. I think my interest right now actually is in that next stage of development. So obviously I've recently left my academic role. I also do some examining for a European institute at the point of qualification. And I think it really has got me think, as we've started our conversation, Teresa, it's got me thinking about that next step of development and how, you know, at the point you pass, you have to be at a particular standard, and that's absolutely right. But I think there is something about what might be possible once some of those constraints of assessment on, and how then I might have a role to play in helping people really take that next step into who am I as a Gestalt therapist when I'm not trying to show myself in a particular way to some particular you know, I didn't regulations, standards, accreditations. And that's not, of course, I'm hugely committed to those standards.
Totally.
Accreditations. They've been so important part of my life for the last few years. And I think there is something of the relaxation into, okay, now I can really find my own way of and really develop some kind of depth to what happens. So that feels like that's what I'm kind of passionate about in this next
I love that.
phase.
I love that. There's certainly a theme. Yeah, as you say, holding the balance between jumping through hoops for a certain accreditation and actually developing as an individual in a more rounded way. I love that. That's brilliant. Di, thank you so much for sharing a bit about yourself, and I'm sure there'll be more going forward.
There will. Thank you very much.
Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.